All right, let's get started. So I had someone ask me about what I eat personally. Now I want you to be aware that this is what works for me. It's not what I'm gonna tell everyone to eat. We're all individuals. We all eat very, very differently, and we all have different ways that we react to food. So what works for me is not what might work for you, and it's taken me like basically 27 years to figure out that this is what works for me, and still fine-tuning it. Also, I would really recommend that if you are a little bit uncertain about how you should eat, that you either work with a nutrition coach like myself, or get yourself a nutritionist or a functional medicine doctor, someone just to help guide you. Hi, Louise. All right, so let's start. So how do I eat? So to kind of give you a perspective of how I eat, I have to go back a couple of years. So growing up in Sweden, I was always really sick, like to the point, hi Gemma, to the point that I was in and out of hospital a lot. When I was 4, it was actually kind of scary. It was, if I hadn't been in the hospital for like 2 weeks, the nurses would start asking, like almost calling my parents, being like, is Cecilia okay? We haven't seen her for a while, which is like bizarre. You shouldn't be at the hospital, shouldn't ask where you are and wonder if you're okay if you haven't been there. So I was really sick, and then I don't know how old I was. It was probably around 4, 6, but I got this sickness that the doctors didn't know what it was, and it got so bad that they actually thought that I would die. So my parents were pretty much like preparing to say goodbye to me, and like I had hallucinations and just really sick, and I was on IV, all of these things. And then overnight it just switched, and I was alive and well and happy and all good. And then after that, I actually had a couple of years where I didn't get sick. My immune system somehow boosted itself, probably from that. At the same time, in Sweden, it's really popular to drink this drink, gruel, which is a grain-based drink. And I love that stuff. Like, you cannot get me to stop drinking it. I actually still remember the taste of it, and like I have this weird, funny, happy emotion regarding it. So I love that. But it is grain-based, so it's very heavy in gluten. And yeah, so let's fast forward. So about teenage years, again, I started getting sick, and it would always be like everyone around me would get the flu for maybe like 2-3 days. I would be sick for probably 2 weeks, and I would need antibiotics to get well again. And around this time, I started noticing that what I ate had an effect on me. And when I was in 10th grade, at this point, pre-diet knowledge, I was eating a bagel with cream cheese. That was my standard lunch, the great things that you eat when you are a teenager. Hi, Chanel. And yeah, so I was eating that, and then every day I would have math straight after lunch. I would sit in this math class, and I would literally be going like this. Like, I would be falling asleep. I just did not have any energy. Really could not understand. My stomach would be making all of these noises as well. And at the time, like, you didn't really connect that bagel maybe wasn't great for me, but it started to kind of click a little bit. At the same time, I was also running on the cross-country team that I'm now, or that I was a coach for, and I just could not perform as well as I was before. I actually did not make the championship that year because I was so sick and just had to stay home. I was off school for probably almost like 2-3 months because I just kept on getting sick. So that was around 15, 16, I think. And at the same time, I was getting really interested in health and in nutrition, and started to read up a little bit. I started reading Women's Health, started reading Zest, which was my first introduction. I was really interested in journalism. I wanted to be a journalist at this time, and I wanted to be a health and fitness journalist. So I started connecting the dots and started realizing, actually, when I eat bread, when I eat pasta, when I eat all these really heavy gluten things, I'm not feeling well. So I started cutting it out, and all of a sudden my immune system just got so much better, and I did not get sick. I could get over the flu without taking antibiotics, which was just incredible for me. So that was my first kind of moment of realizing actually food is more than just fuel for the body. It also affects how you live, your wellness. It affects your perspective of the world, because when we're not eating well, certain like neurotransmitters are not working as well, and serotonin isn't boosting. So yeah, and I just started getting really interested in what it was doing for me, and kind of became in charge of the diet for my family as well, because I love to cook. My mom made me cook at home. She introduced me to cooking, so I would be, because I had all of these requirements, well, I would be the chef for the night. So I started kind of making changes for my family as well, and they started noticing the benefits. And yeah, so let's see. So then in university, I was studying journalism, and I started learning more about how to do research into nutrition, how to not just read the magazine, but actually go to the studies the magazines were basing their articles up, and started specializing in health and nutrition. And from there, I then realized that actually I don't want to be a writer, I don't want to work in a magazine. I want to be able to do work kind of on a more like one-to-one basis, because I felt that's how I'm actually going to help people, and helping people is always what I've been passionate about. I've always done it regardless of whether it's been my work or just it's just something that I'm passionate about. So I started to think, okay, well, I want to educate myself in this. I don't want to be someone who just reads and then gets my perspective of it and then tells people what to do, because that is not correct. Like, you need to have an education to understand what it is you're talking about. So after I graduated, I wrote to this company that is really big within the wellness industry in England and worldwide, actually, that I really admired, and I wanted to work for them. And I asked them, what do I need to do to be able to work for you one day? I'm currently educating myself as a Pilates teacher. I want to do more things, so what do I need to do? So they directed me to this course by the Czech Institute, which is very big in the US. It's kind of making its way. Some people will know about it in the UK, I think. I hadn't heard of them before, but I looked into it, and I decided to do their holistic lifestyle coaching course. And eventually I did get to work for this company, which was awesome, but then left it. But yeah, so with Czech, it was very interesting experience. Definitely helped. It kind of gave me a basic, but it's a lot more. I will talk later on about the different courses, actually, but yeah, it was really interesting, and it gave me that first kind of basis of a nutrition foundation, I would say. So from there, and it also started to connect the dots between, okay, what you eat and also how you're thinking, how you're feeling, how stressed you are. All of that has a connection. And I'll talk a little bit more about that when I tell you about how I coach. But yeah, so it's not just about how you move and how you eat, it's everything in your life connects. So then from Czech, I then went out and I started doing a little bit of coaching one-to-one with people, kept on fine-tuning my own diet, because even though I wasn't eating gluten anymore and I'd reduced my dairy because I realized that that was not working for me. Long story short, I basically spent one Christmas Eve, which is when we celebrate in Sweden, in bed, completely sick with a high fever, throwing up and all of that fun stuff, because I'd spent the previous days eating lots of good French bread, lots of good French cheese, and just felt horrible. So after that, I kind of stopped. Then from there, about a year or two ago, I started, like everyone else, veganism started becoming a trend. And I started researching a lot more into it and looking at the benefits of it, and really loved what the results of a vegan diet could do for you. And so I switched to that. Now, because the coaching course that I did with Czech, you do a written test, which is very much based on your kind of intuitions, and you go through that process of kind of you check in with yourself and you see what is working for you. So with that test, it actually said that I do best in what they call a polar diet, which is very high in fat, higher in protein, quite low in carbohydrates and things like that. And so I tried that at first and I did not feel good because I was basically amping up the dairy, and that does not sit well with me. So then I went completely 180 and went vegan. Probably about 90% vegan, because I did not want to be, for example, when I was working in Courchevel, if I'm vegan there and I can't eat gluten, then I'm basically living off of salad and fries. And the reason why I wanted to be vegan was because I wanted to have health benefits. So I went 90% vegan, maybe 80% vegan, where I would have, if someone was serving me a dish and they had meat in it, I would not refuse that. But I tried to eat as much as I could personally. When I was cooking, it would be vegan. And it was funny because I actually didn't feel great on it, but I was kind of adamant that no, this is good for me and I'm gonna stick with it. And I love vegan food. Like, best thing you can give me is like a Buddha bowl or the raw cheesecakes. Oh my goodness, so good. And I love vegetables, but I just was not feeling myself on this diet. And I actually kept gaining weight. So last year I was gaining, like, I weighed the most that I ever had despite being active, and it wasn't muscle, it was more than that. Like, it was a little bit more around the waist and so on, and not because it's about that, but obviously you don't feel at home sometimes if your body is changing. I just couldn't pinpoint what it was. And I started also, this was the most disturbing thing, a little bit. When was this? This was probably about the mid-change of the year. I started feeling these pins and needles in my hands and in my feet. So kind of like, you know, when your legs are falling asleep, that's what it felt like. And I had that constantly in my hands and my feet, and it just did not feel good. It was not right, but I couldn't figure out why it was that. Then I met, upon a recommendation from a friend, I met with Mirtha Eckel, who's a functional medicine doctor. Her name's Liv Miani on here. I will link that. And I did some tests, and she looked at my DNA, which was really, really cool. So very, very specific to me. And she recommended that I do intermittent fasting. I have to stop eating completely vegan because my body does not process B12 vitamins by itself that well. So if I'm eating a diet that's very low in that, then I'm basically not setting myself up for good health. I also have a problem with regulating my blood sugars and all of this stuff, which was quite fun because, again, backtracking, I'm just connecting the dots in my mind. Years before, I'd been diagnosed with PCOS. So already back then I started thinking about my sugar. So I don't eat sugar that much, it's more fruits and more natural sugars, but of course in the long term it stacks up. So that all made sense when she said that. So now I switched to a diet that is, I fast until midday, or it's kind of modified fasting because I do the bulletproof coffee. So I have a tablespoon of MCT oils in there. I have a tablespoon of ghee, which actually works for me, and one cup of coffee, and then I drink that, and then I don't eat until 12, ideally 2:30, but it doesn't work as well now because I'm with my family, and my brother would probably die if we went until 2:30. But when I'm teaching, it works really, really well for me. I'm also eating meat, but not just red meat, like maybe red meat once or twice a week because my body needs it apparently, and mainly fish because fish is so good around here, it's amazing. And then I eat, and some kind of protein source, a lot of green vegetables with that, a lot of good olive oil just to get my fat sources up, avocado, and I will have a small carbohydrate, so saying that I mean starchy carbohydrate source at lunch. So maybe like a palmful of potato, of maybe I'll have one toast of bread just to kind of dip in the olive oil because that is so good. And then At night, I try not to have any kind of starchy carbohydrates because that's not what works for me. And then ideally, I stop eating after dinner. That doesn't always happen, but yeah, so I get that long kind of 16, 18 hours of a fast just by sleeping, which is awesome. And I've been doing that for probably 3 months now, and I actually feel really, really good. The tingles have stopped in my hand. I'm getting back. I can actually see results in my body a lot quicker. I can go to the gym and I do one session and like I see muscle definition, which I will have to attribute to the fact that for me, I feel my body is now responding so well to this diet that I'm on, that I can see changes and things are happening. Again, please remember, this is what works for me, and it's not what's going to work for everyone. We're all very different. I am Scandinavian. My family is basically 99.9% Scandinavian, so it goes back. I makes sense that I should eat a higher fat diet because that is what, for example, Eskimos are eating and so on. If you are from a different country, if you're more from the equator, you are probably going to do better on a high carb diet than what I do. So again, this is what works for me, might not work for you. Okay, so going from that, and that's something that I always keep in mind, is when I coach people, I know that you are not going to have the same likes as me. You are not going to want to eat as I do. You are not going to be able to eat as I do because that's not what works for you. So when I coach, we sit down, and whether this is face-to-face or face-to-face over a Zoom call or Skype, because I do online coaching as well. So we talk about how you feel, and very often I talk a lot about stress with the person I'm talking to, and that's probably what I will address before I will address the diet. I have a kind of hierarchy of how I work. So in my 5 pillars of wellness, which you might have heard about, we start with stress, then we move on to sleep, then mindset, then nutrition, and then food. So from the get-go, we will work on all of them, but stress will always be my main priority, because if your body is in stress, it will not prioritize breaking down the nutrition and getting the best out of the food that you're eating. So it doesn't matter actually if you're eating really, really well, because if you are stressed, you are not going to get all of what you need from the food that you are eating. So we address stress, and then I will do kind of my basic test that I talked about earlier. We look at it's basically what kind of foods do you prefer and how do you respond to certain things, to get a estimate of what your profile is, whether you are a polar type like me, whether you're more of a mixed type that do well in somewhere in between, or if you are equatorial, and if you are better on a high carb diet. And then we start to tweak a little bit about how you should eat for you to feel the best. What's so great is that I've done 3 different nutrition courses, so I've got 3 different perspectives of nutrition, which means that I am not going to, I don't subscribe to one school of thought, if that makes sense. So I think a lot of people, they are hesitant to coach with me because they think that I'm going to put them on a vegan diet. That is not going to happen. If you want to be on a vegan diet, and if that is what works with your body, then yes, we can work on that. But I will never ever say to someone, okay, you need to give up the food or to give up the meat, unless that is applicable to you. Also, as a coach, I would not say that, because I believe that you need to have a lot more qualifications than what I have at the moment. You need to be have done the nutritionists. I have so much respect for them, and that's why I have a little bit of an issue with people online who are calling themselves nutritionists or who are giving meal plans and things when they don't have that knowledge. I've done probably 2-3 years of intensive studying, but I'm still not a nutritionist. I'm a nutrition coach. So you have to be careful with who you're getting your nutrition information from, especially on Instagram. A lot of great sources, a lot of not so great sources. Going back to how I coach. So I don't do meal plans. I know people want meal plans. I know it makes it a lot easier for you, but I don't work like that, because one, if you don't like your meal plan, you're probably not gonna stick to it. 2, what do you do when the meal plan is over? And 3, a lot of times people, when you are on a meal plan, if you have one day where you can't actually stick to it, a lot of people get this guilt and they kind of get into this mentality of like, okay, well, screw it, I didn't stick to it, so I'm just gonna keep going with whatever I'm doing right now. And my main thing is, I don't want you to ever have guilt surrounding food. I don't want you to feel restricted surrounding food, because that is not what it's about. It's about you enjoying life and enjoying what you're eating. Meal plans also kind of break it down into, okay, here's your macros, here's your calories, here's this and this. When food actually is the more, okay, here's the meal that you are sharing with your family at dinner, here's the night out with your girlfriends, here's the night that you and your partner went out and had a romantic meal. So it's like, it doesn't work in that sense. So what I do is I give you the tools to make education choices for you. For example, I teach people about using your hand as your portion control. This is something that Precision Nutrition, which is the course that I'm currently doing, teaches you. So it will tell you that your palm of your hand is your protein source. A cupped hand is your carbohydrate source. Your full hand is your, I'm seeing if I can remember this correctly now, is your vegetables, and this is your fats. So different for different people. Some people, for example me, I should have 2 of these and half of this, of the carbohydrates, when I'm eating, because that's how I work. So we go through, and I will teach you those tools. I will teach you a lot of different tools that you can use to make it more fun to learn about yourself, more easier to actually eat when you're going out or when you are making food for yourself, and without creating any guilt about it. Also, I help you see where maybe your health challenges, where they're coming from with your food, because I have that experience myself. I know that we get sick when we're not eating well. I know that you can feel so much better from adjusting how you should eat, not because what a media is telling you is the healthy way to eat. So if you actually don't feel well on a vegan diet, I will not tell you to be on a vegan diet. So we'll go step by step. So we don't make radical differences straight away, because that is not sustainable. And this is about life, not about a quick fix that is going to get you into a dress in 2 weeks time or something like that. No, I want to give you the tools to eat well for life, so that you have a life that is full of joy and happiness, and that you are able to do everything that you want to do. And also eat what you want to eat. So we work together. I like to keep a food diary every now and then, but mainly because I want you to see where your emotions play with what you're eating. A lot of us, I do this especially, if we're quite emotional, a lot of us will turn to food. So for example, if I'm stressed, I turn to eat a lot more. I tend to eat a lot sugary or carb sources. Some people stop eating when they're stressed. So I do a food diary to see what your normal day looks like, and then usually over a week, because otherwise it would be the one day where you're not eating as normal and you just feel bad. So over 1 week, there's never ever any judging from my side about what you're eating, and then I ask you also to keep track of how you were feeling just before you ate, and how you felt an hour after you've eaten that food, because you want to feel good an hour after. You should still feel full, and you should feel like you have your optimal amount of energy an hour after you've finished your meal. So that is how I work with you. And then we do step by step, we make changes, and we work on improving meals one at a time rather than complete overhaul. So I'm not going to tell you to, okay, you need to start drinking a green smoothie every day, you need to have a chicken salad for lunch, and you need to have a steamed broccoli and fish for dinner. No. If you are not eating like that at the moment, then you're probably not going to think that is quite fun or sustainable at all, and that's not what I'm about. So what we do is, for example, we choose one meal and we see at how we can improve it one step. So for example, if you are currently eating, let's say you get a McDonald's, just to make it the easiest thing for lunch, because it's quick, it's convenient, it's right around the corner from your work. So then we look at, okay, if you are currently getting the chicken nuggets at McDonald's, how can we make it one step better? So maybe we'll do, I don't even know the menu at McDonald's, but I think they have a grilled chicken sandwich, so maybe we'll get you off the fried chicken nuggets onto the grilled chicken sandwich, and instead of getting a Coke, you will start getting a water. So that is one step better than what you were eating before. Then we work again on getting that chicken sandwich from McDonald's. Maybe you then start enjoying that chicken sandwich, so maybe you're now, okay, well, I can also go to Pret and I'll have a chicken sandwich, which probably has better ingredients in it, a lot fresher and better for you. There's also vegetables getting mixed into there, and the bread would be better. Still, you're getting that water, and you are continue on that path. So we continue improving it until one day you are actually preparing your own chicken salad from home, which has lots of good fats in it, lots of lovely colorful vegetables, and you're drinking water, and maybe you're also getting in a walk at lunchtime. So that is how I work with you, to try to get you one step better each time. Never ever any pressure, never ever any judgment, and we, for example, if you don't like kale, I'm not gonna make you eat kale. Why? So working a lot on what your preferences are and what you enjoy. So I hope that made sense about how I coach. If you have any more questions about that, please message me. I'm currently running a promotion for everyone who's on my newsletter list, that you get 25% off all of my online coaching packages. So if you're interested in that, sign up on the link in my bio, and I will send you the information, and we can talk a little bit more about what works for you. And yeah, so then let's keep going. So what I eat now, okay, so I went through that already, but my day starts with coffee, and then so I don't label my diet, but if it's closest to anything, it would probably be close to a ketogenic diet with intermittent fasting. But I don't label because, one, I don't like labels, because if I go outside of that, then people get confused and go, why are you eating this? And also because I don't want that. I'm eating whatever works for me. All right, so do I snack? This is a question that I got from Jenny. Do I snack? Yes, I do snack. I love snacks. But however, now that I'm in this transitioning period where I've changed, I snack a lot less. We used to do that. I would have breakfast, I would have a snack in between teaching, I would have lunch, I would have a snack, and I would have dinner. I probably would have a snack after dinner as well. But I love snacks. However, now I've stopped. I feel a lot better not snacking, and I also don't need it as much because I'm eating a very high fat diet, which means that I can last longer. And it's also really hard when you're teaching a lot to fit it in, to eat in between, because a lot of times I would maybe have 15 minutes between classes or half hour, but I would need to switch studios, and it's not fun teaching with something that you've just kind of scoffed in and you can feel it sitting right here. So I don't snack as much anymore. However, when I did snack, I tended to rely a lot on snack bars, which is not ideal, but I would look for the most natural ones. So my favorite one was the RX bars, especially the dark chocolate sea salt, so good, which contains egg white protein, it contains dates, it contains cashews and almonds, and sea salt, and some kind of chocolate, which I believe actually was vegan. It was really good. It's an American brand. You can get it on Amazon, but I would advise going in with someone else because the shipping cost is not very great. UK based, I like the vegan bounce balls, but they're not my fave, I have to say. Quite high in sugar. Then my first protein bar that I really enjoyed was the Quest bars. They're not great, but I really like this. And yeah, so that if I was getting if I had something with me, that would be that. I really like Pret because they had snack pots with like the edamame, with avocado, with eggs and things like that, which I think is a better source. If you're gonna snack, it's better that you get an actual source, a proper food source that is fresh. So I really like that. Love avocado, so good, and I love eating that now. That's probably how I'm snacking. If I'm snacking, is that I will have a whole avocado and with some sea salt on, and that is just amazing. If you crave a sweet treat, I can really recommend, this is not ideal, but an avocado with sunflower seeds and honey drizzle on top of it. It sounds weird, but it's really good. So that is a sweet treat for me. What else do I snack? Nuts, carrots and hummus. Fruit, trying to limit that now to just once a day, and trying to make that berries mainly, just because they have lower sugar in them. Other snack sources, I think that's about it. Rely a lot on coffee, which is not great, but I love coffee. Okay, so that is my snacks. I would love to hear if you guys have any snack that you enjoy. And then I had this really fun questions about, I travel a lot. I travel to New York, especially a lot. So I had a lot of questions about where should they eat. So whenever I travel, I always look up, there are 2, maybe 3 things that I will always look up wherever I'm going. First one is the fitness studios. Second one is the restaurants. Third one is pharmacies, because I love pharmacies, especially here in Monaco and France. They are incredible. But yeah, so I know a lot of good food places, because that is probably my main priority when I travel. Don't care about the tourist sites, I care about what can I eat and what should I eat. So in New York, I love Candle 79. Really good. Again, it's vegan. Most of the places that I go to in New York are actually vegan, because I was eating vegan at the time. But Candle 79, really good. Candle Cafe is the same chain, but it's kind of more of a cafe. Blossom du Jour, especially the one next to, on the Upper West Side. I don't know if it's Blossom on Columbus or if it's Blossom du Jour, but it's one closer to the opera. Absolutely incredible food, so amazing. So love that. Where else in New York? If you want a good treat, I can recommend Chloe's Fruit Soft Serve. Tastes exactly like ice cream, but really good. And where else? I love Tao, which is not vegan, not particularly healthy, but it's a really cool Asian restaurant there. You can get really good, like, healthy steamed fish and good vegetables. And those are the ones that I can think of right now. I loved Hugh Kitchen, but they're not open anymore where I go. Yeah, those are about the ones. And then I also had, so moving on, a couple of questions that I've had pop up recently, which I really like, is people asking me about which courses they should do if they're interested in nutrition coaching. So I've done 3. I've done the Czech Holistic Life Coach course. I've done Future Fit online nutrition expert, advanced nutrition expert with weight loss and sports. And then I'm currently doing precision nutrition. So my favorite out of those 3 would be precision nutrition, because I feel like it not only gives you like sound good knowledge, it kind of breaks down nutrition into a lot more easily digestible bites, not to make a pun out of it. And it just makes sense, and they know so much. They work with Equinox, they work with Nike, like these guys, they know their stuff, and they make it easier for you to understand it too. They also help you with coaching people, which is quite hard when you first start out. Like, you think it's easy, but it's not just telling someone what to do, because we're all very complex. and I really like their approach. Also, the Facebook community on there is so supportive. It's like the most supportive group I've ever seen, where everyone's just asking, like helping each other out. If you have a question with a client, everyone will answer. So yeah, really recommend Precision Nutrition. Then I would recommend the Check one. Depends on what you're after. The Check it's a holistic lifestyle coaching course, which means it's quite alternative. When I started out the first time, I think I've mentioned this before, but when I came in, they started talking about psychedelic drugs and how great it was, which for me was like, what? But other than that, it was actually really beneficial, and it kind of got me understanding that stress has a lot to play with how you're digesting food, how you're moving, and so on. So I would recommend that one if you are more into, if you like crystals, and if you like if you follow the moon, and if you follow astrology, I would recommend you to go to that one. If you are just starting out, it was actually quite a lot to take in. So for me, I came home from that course and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't even know where to start. And when you start coaching people, you have all of this knowledge and you feel like you need to put it on to people, and it's actually really hard to take in. So I would suggest Precision Nutrition, then Check. Then I don't know if I would actually recommend the Future Fit one, because I felt like the information was very dated. Their healthy food choices was not like what I would consider healthy at all. But it could be good if you are just starting out, then that's good. But it's based upon government advice to stay within the regulations, I guess. And unfortunately, the government is not always the best with when it comes to nutrition. They're probably quite far behind with what you should eat. The food pyramids and all of that aren't actually based upon what's best for you. If you look at the different countries, they all have different ones. So I don't know. And a lot of times there's a lot of food politics playing into it. So yes and no. You can talk to me. You can send me a message if you want to know more about that. And yeah, so definitely Precision Nutrition. If you're interested in coaching, go for that one. And those are the questions that I've had. If you have any questions for me, you can go ahead and send them in the chat, and I will answer them. But yeah, so if this has all made sense to you, I hope it did. I know I kind of rambled a little bit, but if you are interested in learning more about either coaching with me, or if you have any questions about what I spoke about, please send me a message. Again, I do have a promotion going on until the end of today, with starting to think about other things. I have a promotion going on today, until the end of the day, with 25% off all coaching courses. Online coaching courses. So we will sit down, and we'll have a chat. If you want to, we can have a 30 minutes Zoom chat just before even you commit to anything, just for you to see how I can help you, because that is what I want to do. I want to be able to help you to feel as good as I feel now. And then in this coaching, it's not just nutrition, it's also working on your stress levels, it's working on your fitness. I will design a program for you, whether that is if you prefer to have a program where you're doing weightlifting, or if you would prefer to be more of a Pilates kind of workout, then I can do all of that. We will tailor it exactly to you. And then depending on what kind of level you choose, you will have support from me in different levels. So for example, if you choose my basic level, which is called the path, because I will put you on the right path, we will have twice monthly, we will have a Zoom call, 30 minutes, and we'll check in with each other, and you'll tell me how it's going and how you're feeling, and we'll try to tweak a little bit maybe if you need to. And then you will get everything else that the other levels get as well. You will get your specific workout to you. You will get some tips on how to manage stress and things like that. And if you send me an email, I will get back to you as quick as I can, probably within 24 hours. And yeah, so that is level 1, the path. Level 2, I call the arrow. sorry, no, I don't call it arrow, I call it the compass, because I give you more tools and I am more available to you there. So again, same thing, we will talk through your goals, we'll talk through your needs. We'll have a catch up every week instead. So every week you will get to have a face-to-face talk with me like this for 30 minutes, and we'll talk through again your goals, talk about what we can tweak, how we can make things a little bit easier for you, what I can do to help you, and then you'll also get all of those amazing things with the exercise program. Never ever any nutrition meal plan. It will be, everything will be to help you when you're out and about, to help you when you are cooking and so on, rather than a strict meal plan. As I said before, they don't tend to work in the long run. And then you've got the top layer, top tier, which is called the Wayfinder, because I will be with you every step of the way. So you will actually get my number and you will have access to me 24/7 through WhatsApp. So anytime that you need a question answered, whether that is, for example, I'm at Lululemon, I don't know what leggings to get, so I am happy to answer that. Or if you are out at a restaurant and you are not sure what to eat, then we will talk about that, and you can just message me anytime. I will get back to you. We'll also have our weekly check-ins online where we talk about your week, and you'll have the option of doing a Skype personal training or Pilates session with me as well. And yes, and then so 25% off all of those. You can choose to pay monthly, or if you want to pay 3 months ahead, then you get £100 off of the final price. And then because I'm doing 25% off, so you'll get £100 off the 3 months package plus another 25% off. So actually it's a really, really good time to invest in you and invest in your health, because that is what it is about. Is all of this is not spending money on something luxurious, is actually investing in you. Yesterday I put up a quote talking about your needing to put on your oxygen mask first, and this is getting your oxygen. If you are looking after yourself, you can look after others. So if you feel like you need to make a change, if something needs to change, I would love to be the one to help you with that. So do sign up for my newsletter. I will send you straight away the email with the different options and with the information about it. If you have any questions about anything, please do DM me or email me. Anything, just want to help you guys out to make sure that you are feeling well and happy. I've been through the stages of being really sick. I've been through the stages of feeling like I'm eating well, but things are not changing, or just feeling like I'm eating well, but I'm actually not feeling well. So I've been there. I can help you to get to where you should be, and I would love to be the one to help you with that. So please do message me. And I hope all of this made sense. I hope this answers some of your questions. Hope it wasn't too boring or anything like that. And yeah, I'm a Pilates trainer. I'd like to know about Reformer. Okay, Parash. So you can maybe DM me about the Reformer. It is a really, really great tool. I can do that online as well. I don't have a Reformer here at the moment, but eventually I will be able to give you Reformer classes online. But please send me a message and I can talk to you about that. Okay, guys. So yeah, I hope you have a great day. It's Sunday. Enjoy it. Be with friends and family. Any more questions, please send them my way, and we will speak soon again. I've got some fun things in the lineup with people that I find inspiring that I will do interviews with here on Instagram. And I think the first one might come up this week, but I need to make sure to book it in. But yeah, so if you have anyone that you want me to interview, please send those requests along. And yeah, have a great day. Bye, Natalie. Hi. All right, so bye, guys. Have a great day and enjoy this Sunday.